probably hungry, dehydrated, burned out, but the fact that you're here is really cool. How many people have had some experience with Adaptive Airtime, have seen what's happening up on Woodside or in any of the other sites? Okay, so that's cool. Not very many, so that's cool. It's going to be kind of new information for you. David sitting back there trying to, to stay in the shadows as much as he can, and that's only going to last so long, is the figurehead and the founder and the spearheader of this project. And to introduce the project, I made a little video, which is a compilation of several videos that were given to me to work with, and that will kind of definitely introduce you to the program. And then after that, I'm going to bring David up here, and I'm actually going to put him on the grill and cook him a bit and get some questions. And at any point, if you have things that you want to know, if you feel there's gaps in the information, you can just join right in, sort of like that thermaline clinic that we did the other day, which was really nice, very interactive and a two-way street. So without further ado, this is the video that we think will give you a good idea of what David has been up to for the past 2 years, David? 3? Okay, 3 years, yeah. I'm just kind of coming on board now. And yeah, I'll tell you a little bit more about David's and my history after that. So please enjoy the video.
Life is this. I like this.
Hi, I'm Joe Stone. I have been paragliding for about 10 years with the wheels, and I think adaptive paragliding is a pretty special sport for a number of reasons. So I've found adventure, I've found community, it's given me purpose. So Project Airtime welcomed me in with open arms and was able to provide all of the lessons and equipment and knowledge that I needed to fly safely at no cost. And the last thing I'll say about it is, oddly enough, paragliding is one of the most inclusive sports that I've ever been able to find in the adaptive world. Once we're in the air, we're all just pulling on strings with our arms. And when I look around at all of my buddies that are flying with me, we're all playing the exact same game and we can all go fly together. And I've never personally been able to find a sport that provides that level of inclusion, which is probably the icing on the cake with it all.
My name is Leonard and I'm 29 years old. I live in Kamloops, British Columbia. Immediately from the first flight I did with David, he instilled confidence in me. He also instilled in me that I would be able to do this on my own, which at the time was something I needed incredibly badly. I became a paraplegic riding my mountain bike when I was 15 years old in a downhill race, and I had things were going pretty good. Unfortunately, on March 26, 2023, I was riding an adaptive mountain bike and had a crash and broke my neck, which is a totally different ballgame. Everything's changed yet again. I wasn't in a great place mentally. Getting up paragliding was kind of exactly what I needed to help get myself out of that funk. Just being free in the air and having that freedom to do that was incredible. And then I went down to Utah with Adaptive Airtime, and I spent 10 days in Utah and figured out how to fly on my own. I was able to do a lot of kite school, and the power that it had, I just don't even think can be really put into words.
So I've been very adventurous my whole life. I've gotten to do a ton of adventures through that. I've done whitewater kayaking at quite a high level. I've done sit skiing. 2 years ago?
Bronze medal.
Yeah, I won a bronze medal in the Paralympics in 2014. I got injured 2 years ago, and as a quad, I've tried sit skiing again. It really didn't pan out. Where getting to jump into paragliding, it was almost immediately, you had that feeling that you had before, where with the limited function that I have, where I don't have triceps, I don't have full movement in my hands or arms, I'm able to still independently by myself, once I'm in the air, move this wing around and really get under it and feel that and have that level of freedom, and it there's not many sports that allow you to do tandem experience at that level without having much risk to it.
It's amazing to watch him go and to be like everyone else that's rolling off the edge of the cliff.
I'm looking at the sky differently now. The perspective is so it's so unlike anything I've ever done. You can feel the air, you can feel the bumps in the air. I don't know how to describe it. It makes your world feel a little bit more accessible, I guess. Did I forget about my disability for a while? That's a really good question. I think Yeah, I don't know what to say to that. I think I did. The first time since my injury, for sure, that I forgot about my disability.
I just can't convey enough how much gratitude I have for everybody that's been involved in this. I think Adaptive Airtime has probably fueled the beginning of a new passion for him.
This experience has absolutely changed me. It's made me feel like I've got an activity and a community that accepts me. I haven't had fun like that since my accident. Just got to figure out how to do this every day.
My name is Noreen, and I want to try paragliding because I used to do rock climbing, and I was able to conquer my fear of heights, and I think this is the next level of it.
If you can tell me, please, what do you think about paragliding and adaptive?
Yeah, well, like, you know, for me at the beginning, before you do the takeoff, you always have this fear of like, oh, I wonder how it's gonna be. Yeah, it's an amazing feeling. Like, you know, you don't feel scared at all, like, through that.
You have a little butterfly. Everybody has it,
Yes,
right?
yeah. But then it's great. Yeah.
Thank you. You pretty excited about this?
That's quite something. I've never been this high before.
I know.
I'm going to be 84.
It's really 104.
Take the hat off.
We'll get your other arm on the other side of these straps.
3, 2, 1, let's go.
There goes perfect. Now we can accelerate. Yeah, perfect.
I'm good. Thank you, guys. And we fly. So I'm here with Walter, the man of 104 upcoming in 2 days. So how do you find the paragliding experience with us today?
It was quite exciting. Flight was terrific.
Well, I hope you will have a beautiful birthday.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Congratulations.
just based on the video, if there's anything you want to ask David right now, because questions might have come up just from watching it, and I'd say strike while the iron's hot and just ask David anything you're wondering about.
Speed room.
I have a guy who's in Squamish in full-time care, and he has MS, and probably can't control his bladder and things like that.
Hello, hello.
May have to,
Depends. It's all no problem.
wouldn't work.
Yeah, it will work. It will work.
Yeah.
We fly everyone.
We had
We
a guy
fly-
yesterday who was draining his bag just before
Yeah,
and after
we,
the flight.
we can fly people with MS, cerebral palsy, cancer patients, kids with autism. All, if everything is for free. Anyone with disability fly free. They fly for free. Zero. Yeah, all you have to do is just show up. Same with solo pilots. When we teach them flying, it's all the lessons are free. All the tandem flights for people with disabilities, or if people want to really fly and they have no money, like say they have kids which want to fly and they have no money, we'll just fly them for free. All the tandems we do through Adaptives are based on donations. If people can donate, if they are in a situation where they can afford to support the program, absolutely gladly accept the donations. But most of the people we fly absolutely free of charge.
How cool is that?
I'm retired, so yeah.
Okay, any other questions just based on what you just saw? Okay, well, we're just going to back up a little bit here, like 30 years. Because I don't know how many people know David or have flown with him, but David, I have known David for probably since about I think I met you in 1992. And I wondered if you could just tell our guests a little bit about how you got into paragliding.
All right, I will try. So we kind of came here from Eastern Europe. I'm originally from old, good Czechoslovakia, Eastern Bloc. When I was 23, I started hang gliding. I was doing competitive sailing, but that didn't work for me. So for 4 years, I was trying to learn hang gliding. Got my kind of P2, and then met my wife until today, and we decided to leave, so we had to run. And when we came to Vancouver in 1988, I just didn't have money for four-wheel drive truck. I didn't have money for hang glider, and when we were in Austria, I could see paragliders just flying over the mountains, just teasing us. So I went to, I think that's the time when I met Kevin. I think we went to, with my buddy, we saw the ad in buy and sell, and bought a parachute called Bird Wing 2 in Penticton and started flying. Yeah.
And just looking back over the years, why don't you tell them one highlight for you for paragliding? It's usually the first thing that pops into your head.
I've a couple of them, but I was telling Walter when 1992 we went to South Africa, I managed somehow, not knowing how, I flew 40 kilometers without trying. That was one, but no, my highlight would be, I had family, so I had to balance my money, work time with family needs, so I figured out I will do paragliding school. I was kind of like a little scheme against, the odds. So I used to fly a couple years nationals in Golden with my son on tandem. We went nowhere compared to other people, but we were able to fly 90 kilometers. And that was my highlight in way back in those years, probably 95, 96.
90K tandem.
Late
Okay, nice. Okay, and then reality check. What's a low light? What's a bad memory for you?
You don't want to know.
Yeah. Hey, we've all been there.
All right. I had two of them, or three of them actually, in my life. The first one was, again, South Africa, 1992. I went for this trip where fresh P2s with only guy around Vancouver teaching paragliding at the time. And my then business partner had like extremely bad crash and ended up in hospital in coma for like 2 months in South Africa. That was extremely scary because I flew like 10 minutes before him and I somehow made it out and he didn't. Then second scary one was, I think I probably just 2 of them. Second one bad one was when Chris Miller died in Chelan, but I don't want to talk about that one. But third, and that probably leads to Adaptive as well, was I was lucky enough to meet Chris Santa Croce and Dave Bridges and those rock stars in 90s. And I became close with Chris Santa Croce when he was full-on Red Bull pilot, teaching SIV clinics. We did a couple together here in BC. He managed to have like really silly bad crash with paramotor doing that spiral and end up paralyzed for like 3 months. And that was the moment when I almost completely quit flying because I was like, if that happens to him, it can happen to anyone. And we somehow got over it, and he actually made me to start flying with chairs like some 10 years later.
And that, you know, that's kind of why I bring that up, is because probably every person in this room knows that there's a certain amount of luck that has kept us out of a wheelchair because of gravity, unforgiving, and sometimes we make mistakes and sometimes we have bad luck, and some of us end up really battered up and some of us don't. But it's really cool to think of offering this possibility to people. And I've only been involved for a little while, but I did chat with a couple of them, and some of them they were pretty well done with life. And Adaptive came along and gave them something to live for, and that's unbelievable. You know, you saw that one guy who was asked the question, did you forget whether, you know, that you had a disability? And he was stunned to think that for those minutes in the air, he couldn't remember. He didn't even think of being disabled. So what a gift. And the fact that Chris inspired you to do that. Do you want to tell them a little bit more about Chris's organization in Salt Lake City?
Yeah, so I think Chris, this happened about 12 years ago when he crashed, or 13 years ago. Again, at that time he was running Superfly, which is, everyone probably knows, one of the biggest distribution companies for paragliding in North America. And he was doing SIV clinic, had this accident with paramotor. Somehow he recovered 110% because he was on trajectory to die in base jumping and wingsuit flying and all these crazy things anyway. So he was like, that actually saved his life. And when he recovered, he was completely paralyzed from waist down for about half a year. Got out of that one, and he told me he basically called his boss at Red Bull and was like, I'm done. And the way how he put it, and that kind of stuck with me, was he was like, I spent 10 years showing people what I can do in exhibitions, and it's time to show people in kind of dire strait what they can do. And he decided to start Project Airtime. And some 8 years ago, I bought a chair out of impulse, but I was busy with my company, so I couldn't have like enough time and headspace to get fully into it. So I flew like one guy and then nothing and lingering. But I was always like chatting with him and trying to get to that. And 2 years ago, I was able to retire a little bit early and was like, yeah, that's a good time to go back to what I want to do.
Nice. Anybody have a question so far?
I'm just wondering if you have like a plan. Do you plan to do this for a certain amount of time?
Leonard's going to talk a little bit about the kind of the vision in the future. Yeah, unless you want. Okay. Any other questions? So, yeah, I was wondering if you could tell them a little bit more about the sort of that chair is absolutely amazing. And David's told me many times he's kind of trying to win me over to do some chair tandems, and he's told me that, you know, landing this thing is kind of like landing a plane, so it's a lot easier than having a passenger buckle up and roll on the ground when you land. But tell them a little bit about the engineering of that chair. It's incredible.
Yeah, so right now it's the only chair on the market. It's made by a French company called Backbone. They specialize in paramotor trikes, so they modify this for adaptive paragliding for solo pilots and tandems. It's sort of simple, but it has suspension. There's like lever on the rear axle and the front neck, which has like bungee cord, so it actually has quite a bit of give, so landings are fairly soft. Everyone is really surprised. I always go like, holy shit, that was a rough landing. I was like, no, it's very smooth. So I was like, good. It has a rolling cage, so even if people, typically solo pilots, if they land in a little bit of crosswind, because you can't sidestep, the chair will slowly tilt and flip sideways, being pulled over by glider. The design of the rolling cage is such good, so it's people usually just go like, flip me back, and I'm all right. Yeah, it basically replaces your legs. That's all it does. The harness is regular, easy access, super harness, just modified for attachment to, have the support the chair below. So when people fly, they're actually sitting in open harness with their leg straps in the front because they typically can't control our body or anything from chest down. And cost is about $6,000 to land it in Vancouver. That's one of our challenges, to be able to provide them for solo pilots. So far we had 1, 2, 3, 4 chairs. And Project Airtime gave us 2 chairs as well. We gave them to solo pilots as well, so yeah.
So you have your feet on the chair when you land, or your feet?
No, we have basically same spreader bars as foot launching. So I stand behind the chair, and when we fly, I kind of like rest my feet. It helps. I can weight shift really well because there are like little pegs behind the wheels, and I can completely put my almost 80% of my weight on one side, which really helps them, because my goal is to teach people how to thermal and how to stay in the air, right? So when we fly together, I kind of like, we go weight shifting, they can do a little bit of head, that's about it. And for landing, I just have to be ready to do a couple fast steps. We don't have to like nail the timing for full flare when you just come vertically down, and hopefully you will step slow. Solo guys come just rolling down the runway and actually using the speed to turn the glider towards turn the chair towards the glider, so they depower the glider and put it down. And with tandems, I was telling Kevin, even if that dumps you a little bit, I just put the front a little bit up, like step on one foot in, and just, yeah, we get away with murder with that one compared to solo, like a foot launching and landing. It's much easier.
It's a bit like riding a safely car.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, that's actually good.
I guess the thing that I'm wanting to ask, and I'm not sure if I'm asking Leonard or David, is, okay, yeah. Oh, here's my question then. What is it that you're hoping people will do or contribute, or, because we flashed that on the video, but maybe you could break that down a little bit more. Like, if people in here want to put the word out, or they want to be involved in some ways, what are those ways?
Sounds good. I could answer that question. Maybe we'll start with, I am Leonard. I am helping with David here with his initiative. What's that? More? Closer? Louder? My first ever paragliding flight was with David in a tandem. We hiked up Elk Mountain and flew down. That was my first introduction to paragliding, and I think a week later I signed up with Jim Reach for the P2 and ran through that in a matter of 2 months, and got the official certification out of the way, and then David's been keeping me alive since then. So really following David's passion. I've been helping him on the business side of the Adaptive Airtime Association. I own a construction company, and the business side is quite native to me, I'd say. Starting looking at a vision, what's the objectives of the organization, how's it going to get funded? Obviously, there's a lot of costs involved, a lot of volunteers that are required, and any business to expand needs a bit of a business plan, and I helped David put that together, and still working on that, of course. It's a work in progress. One of the first projects we did was actually the improvement of the woodside launch to make it really wheelchair friendly. So a lot of the improvements there are because of Adaptive Airtime. Not sure how many of the folks here actually like the turf. There was a lot of discussion around it, but I think it's been a really good improvement as far as longevity of the top surface, reducing their work on an annual basis to keep the launch in good working order. The previous felt was a lot of work, and since we put the turf down, it's virtually needed no work, so it's been great. A lot of that, the cost associated to that was donated by Metric Civil, one of our civil contractors, working, bringing the equipment up, doing the excavation work. West Coast Soaring Club and HPAC, of course, donated on the supply of the turf itself. The turf itself was actually free, but the delivery came with the cost. But the bulk of the work was done by the Metric Civil guys, so they are one of our key sponsors. Those that Canex Building Supplies donated all the materials for the outhouse that has been in remarkably good order compared to the old one in the woods that nobody looks at. Should really go away at some point, but yeah, maybe West Coast Soaring Club could do that. Heritage site, yeah, so that's Woodside. That's really allowed these the wheelchair launches to happen in a safe manner. Having an appropriate launch is critical, as well as of course the safe landing fields where the hang glider field is quite good for that. Looking at the business plan, the objective is to get as many people that are with disabilities up in the air as possible. David is only one pilot at the moment here doing the flights locally, and expanding that would be good. So that is one thing that we're looking for is more tandem pilots, firstly, and then secondly, tandem pilots willing to help out and volunteer their time to give back. We love doing this, and how can we give back? So I'm working towards my tandem certification. I'm flying my kids and such, and working on hopefully getting that done this year. And I'd love to fly people, give back. I've learned a ton about people with disabilities. Previous to this, I had no real connection, understanding of what people go through with life. And my top moment was Andrea and Caleb, husband and wife. Caleb's quadriplegic, and Andrea's missing a leg. She's got a prosthetic leg, and she's the primary caretaker. And they showed up an hour late, and it's like, yeah, we had a slow morning. It's like, that's okay. The amount of preparation that they got to get through just to get out of bed and get out of the door is astronomical. And yet they're throwing themselves off the top of a mountain, which is super cool. Yeah. So what do we want to see? We're raising money. We're out in the community looking for sponsorships, grants, donations of any sort. We're looking for volunteers to help us shuttling up and down Woodside or elsewhere. Looking for tandem pilots. If anyone's got a thought about doing that, let's talk. What else?
Anything to do with the international instruction? Like when you go down, you're basically a one-man show, or do you?
Yeah. So that is a lot like the solo pilots here. We are encouraging them to go down to Salt Lake City. It's just from a training perspective in a wheelchair. It's just much better conditions at the point of the mountain than here for learning. It just takes too long to get the flights in, and it's too much work. So we are encouraging people still to go to Salt Lake City. Work with. Whoa. It's fine.
Oh, for the camera. It's fine. Questions?
Yeah. Any questions here?
Yeah.
Good. Beer time. No.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Anything else you want to say, Jake?
Oh, we got to meet some pretty cool people, like Rick Hansen. We've been chatting with Rick Hansen, the man in motion, and we had a couple meetings with him. We're hoping to get him up in the air one of these days. He's an avid fisherman. He's always fishing up and down the Harrison River and the Fraser River, and it's like, you got to come flying with us, But we're working on him. I think we'll get him up in the air yet.
I have one more thing, since you missed that one. Okay, so Leonard's supposed to be the business development director of, its full name is Adaptive Airtime Paragliding Association. And the association is a really important part because the way how we set it up, and our vision is to make a really provincial, maybe or Canadian association for people coming into paragliding community, for flying in wheelchairs. It's not a business, it's non-profit association, so we would like to get as many people as possible to join association. Leonard can explain the levels of membership. It will keep our feet to fire from point of accountability, what we do with money which we receive from donors. We can keep everyone in the loop what we're preparing for events. Like middle of the May, we'll have Wheels Up opening our 3rd season for adaptive flying. We'll have summer camp for solo pilots coming from Europe, States, and New Zealand, or Hawaii actually, sorry, almost New Zealand. Yeah, it would be great if people can join us, like basically simple membership. And my idea and my dream or wishful thinking is to have people which understand what solo adaptive pilot needs and what tandem pilot needs from health point of view. So if someone shows up, we can go, yeah, there will be these guys coming up to launch, they can help you to launch. Because when we are done with solo pilots, they are better launching and better landing than most of P2, P3s. I spent 5 weeks in Colombia telling guys not to look left in Pirechincha because everyone was going in somersaults over the launch, and we had maybe 4 aborts in whole month. Because they spent hours and hours in order to gain their independence, they spent days. You were in the Salt Lake, right? They spent days kiting. And they want to be at the point with the very limited control they have over everything in their life. They want to be at the point when they will tell you, okay, I'm good to go, push me. That's why we had that video of Joe. I wish the resolution was better. Because we were on the woodside for 10 minutes, like trying 3 times like this. It was like, no, just I will let you go. And Joe was just working it for a minute and a half. And got the glider steady. We pushed them off, right? So I would like to have people in Lambie, Pemberton, here around the woodside, when someone wanna go flying, come for a weekend, and I can go, yeah, we have people that they know what to do. They know how to launch you know how to launch us on tandems, right? So would be really great if people from paragliding community kind of take it, as little part of our life. I would like to bring it to the same level as, say, like speed gliding. I have like adaptive paragliding as well. It has its own little things we need to do. But as Joe said, higher up, you can't even tell. When you are 500 meters up or 1,000 meters up, no one will be able to tell if you are in pod or chair. And one of my highlights from last winter was I would come in Piet to LZ look up, and Caleb and Andra were the very first thing on the cloud base. They would just launch first and hang there and wait, and then go like 40 kilometers cross country, and they are P2s. And they did it every day. Because they are driven, right? And they spend months in Salt Lake with Grace getting ready and studying like videos and how to thermal, and we typically get 15 hours of thermaling before they can fly solo. Like a little bit of backwards, but it helps them to, once they are ready to launch, they can fly. So again, we will, with Leonard in upcoming days, we'll put together a kind of announcement even through West Coast Soaring Club Forum about joining the association, basically membership across BC. Will be extremely affordable, and I think will be quite meaningful way how to help.
Cool. Anybody else?
Quick question. How's the demand? Is there a lot of pilots a lot of people signing up to try?
It's really flying solo. We had, it's kind of new thing. When we went to Pirechincha last year, there was 16 pilots flying solo. There's more of them, but it's realistically maybe 25. But since we started 2 years ago, just here in Canada, we have 3 people which are ready to, like Caleb, Andra, and Landon are basically rated P2s. Landon has to work on his high flights, but he went through the whole program. He can fly solo. And we have another 4 people this year coming to full training. And as far as tandem goes, I probably turned down about 30% of people because I just didn't have enough time, weather opportunities. I didn't have second pilot. We had to bring Blake from Salt Lake, which is expensive. I had to pay for his ticket and time, his family. So if we have more pilots flying tandem with us, like 2 chairs in BC, we can do probably, I flew in 2 years 150 tandems, but lots of them were in Colombia. But yeah, we can do quite a bit. BC has the highest density of injured outdoor athletes in North America. There are people in Squamish, Whistler, mountain bikers, skiers, climbers, just name it, all right? And lots of these guys, this is like, when people are injured like paraplegics, they have still, that's what was, by the way, the Caleb's videos, that was all paraplegic. Whitewater, he was paraplegic from waist down for 9 years, dropping waterfalls. But once they break their neck, this is the only sport they can do on full level without someone helping them along the way all the time. Even sit skiing, they have to have guide, because if they flip over, they can't push themselves up. They don't control torso. So yeah, demand is pretty huge. I'm talking to people from Make-A-Wish Foundation. There's lots of sick kids. Every kid wanna be Superman, right? We just need to we can bring people from Vancouver if we can handle them, right? I have to go like, yeah. Lots of people can come during the week. One of my problems was like, get a driver, get at least one guy. I can now launch with one person. Before it was two, now I'm getting more comfortable. But I need a team of at least 3 people being on launch, one guy checking the windsock on the bottom, making sure we have like good wind coming up, and 2 other people assisting me launching. Then we can bring people in. There is definitely lots of people which can benefit from that. We are not advertising much. Like I work with Leonard with BC Spinal Cord Injuries Association, because they have athletes. But everyone else, people just keep calling and sending. We have like simple email, get in touch. And right now season is starting, and it's like every second day I get email if we can fly tandems. Yeah.
Back to you.
Is there opportunities for fundraising, sort of thing, or doing a presentation like this, making it a little bit more polished, and in the corporate sort of sector, to try to generate funds so that
We certainly have been working on that. It's been a bit of a chicken and egg. We had to get the program up and running, do the flights, get the collateral, get the videos, get the testimonial stories, which allows us to put the overall presentation together. So that's really the objective for this year, is to really get more in the corporate world, as well as the grant world. There's a lot of grants out there in the different like Rotary clubs, Lions clubs, those organizations that put money out. But again, you need the presentation material to be able to do it. So.
How about a seniors car wash where like I'm
Exactly.
do you have one of the pilots that is perhaps would be a good sort of, I don't know what the right word is, not a mascot, but somebody who would be able to do presentation and sort of almost lead and help from that.
You mean from one of the wheelchair pilots?
Pilots, yeah.
I don't know if you can hear me, but yeah, Caleb, he's one of those guys which kind of like, he's overachiever. He's Paralympian, medalist. Unfortunately, he's supposed to be here for this little meeting, and he had to get to VGH and get a little procedure done, and he's still recovering. He said, I may surprise you and come, because they don't live in Vancouver, they live like 1,000 kilometers from here up north. But we are kind of talking about that with these guys. Lots of them, they don't mind. If we organize everything, they will probably come for some event, but they have lots of on their plate, and older guys just want to be, like he's like Alex, right? Like, oh, it's flyable, screw that, I will go flying. So they want to just go, and now they're going for months to Utah again, and then they will come to Lambay and fly there for a month, because this really, I meet these guys like usually year after they coming through first recovery in GF Strong, which is a rehab place, when they teach them how to function after like severe injury. And seeing the progression over a year and a half, from someone who doesn't even know what to do with life to someone who just tells me not to touch his chair anymore because it's his chair. He doesn't want to tweak it anymore. It's amazing. It's really, yeah, that's what I get from that. I look at life different way. I tell my kids just to zip it and don't complain, because we have it really good. And these guys we get, as I told you, Walter, we get the best of the, it's not that always pinkish, but when it comes to solo flying, and that's what Kevin experienced, because when we met first time, Kevin was like, it's lots of responsibility, I don't know how I will handle that, right? And then you come close and personal with these guys, and we go, it's actually fun. because they are not pushovers. They are not like, you don't have to tiptoe around them. Like, I got into really messy personal business doing caregiving, and you figure out it's like mind over body, 100%, right? It's like who you are as person, what you can overcome. So that's what most of us, when we get involved getting out of this whole situation, like that's the biggest payback, that you go like, yeah, if they can do it, I can do it, and if they kick your ass, it's like humbling.
Okay. Leonard, anything else? Thanks, guys.